We've got some big news coming from Arrowhead as Helldivers just received another game update with some unexpected changes and fixes, of which I've got you covered on all of it. Welcome to the channel, it's LtBuzzLitebeer, and patch 1.001.201 went live early this morning. And I've got to be honest, I was not expecting an update today, especially since we are hot off the heels of Liberty Day and mixed up also in a brutal major order. But here it is. And there's a lot here to talk about, including the reverts to a fan favorite weapon. Remember to hit subscribe as it's free and it really helps out the channel. And don't forget to ring that notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. And here comes the punishing revert news and more. A little spoiler there, so let's check out all the latest from Helldivers. First up, let's check in on that rather brutal major order, and Joel really decided to punish the Helldivers with this one. Now, at the time of this recording, we have a little over 5 days to go, and are currently sitting at about 38% liberated on Matar Bay. Now, we still need to take Pandion 24, and we can't even touch Gacrux right now until we establish those FTL supply lines required to access that one. Now, after that, we still need to defend against 5 automaton invasions, and you can see where this one is going. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, because the Helldivers definitely have a never say never mentality, but this one is definitely tough. If it were just those first 3 named planets, we'd stand much better odds of completion. But when Joel and the team at Arrowhead tacked on 5 defenses versus the bots, this major order significantly jumped in difficulty. As a quick reminder, the Truth Enforcer's War Bond drops in 2 days' time, and if you're still not maxed out on medals, today's daily or personal order is to kill 8 Chargers. And notice it is not Charger specific in terms of variants, just Chargers. So kill 8 of them as a squad and net an easy 15 medals, which you can then spend on the War Bond offerings once it goes live. All right, over to the big and unexpected news, the new update. Patch 1.001.201 went live early this morning, and for me on PC, it was about 542 megs, and maybe any of my viewers can post how big the update file size was for PlayStation in the comment section below. Please and thank you. Now, in the grand scheme of the patch itself, it is largely focused on bug fixes and crashes, but there are some rather large changes here for weapons and stratagems as well, so let's get into it. First off, in the balancing category is the shield generator relay. Notice it's not the shield gen pack, it's the relay, which after last patch got some sizable buffs, including one to its overall radius, making this thing a literal bubble of protection. Anyways, the devs have boosted the shield lifetime duration by 10 seconds, taking it from 30 seconds up to 40 seconds for a little more sustain in terms of just overall duration. Next up is the big punishing change I hinted about in the intro, and it is the complete rollback of the previous changes made to the Punisher Plasma. Get it? Punishing? Punisher? Yeah. Here's what the devs have to say about this one. In response to popular Helldiver demand, General Brash has issued an administrative order to revert the production changes made to the SG-8P Punisher Plasma from patch 1.001.104. We have reverted the latest changes to the SG-8P Punisher Plasma. Will now have a more noticeable arc in its projectile path, starting off slower and maintaining speed longer. They're actually recapping the changes that they're reverting. This will affect its recoil, fire rate, and projectile behavior. To further improve its effectiveness, the mag capacity has also been increased from 8 up to 10. I personally use the Punisher versus the bots on most of my Helldives for the awesome stun stagger it lays down on everything except all but the heaviest of enemies. And to see it reverted and rolled back to its former self, yeah, I can see this is overall good. Recoil, fire rate, and projectile behavior have all been affected, and now we also get back 2 ammo per mag, so divers should really be re-embracing the Punisher Plasma. Also, an interesting thought here as well is the mention of player feedback and in general how players were not asking for or overall liking the previous changes the devs made to the Punisher. To see Arrowhead reading the feedback and deciding this change wasn't necessary can be seen as a good thing. At least we can see they are awake and standing watch. And if the Punisher change has now been reverted, I would also expect them to now shift their attention to the Constitution and some buffs for that museum piece, because I've seen your feedback and there are strong opinions on both sides concerning this one. Top priority fixes are next on the board, and I'm going to flash this up on screen so you can read them over for yourselves. And of course, there's always a link in the video description to the full patch notes, but I have taken the liberty, get it? Liberty? Yeah, that's bad, of highlighting a few of the most important items on the list. But the first of which is that they have fixed a bug where the high breaker drill would become inaccessible when called in, which is big. Now, I haven't tested it this morning after the patch. I cannot verify it is 100% fixed, but anything that serves as a mission progression blocker, like specific items you call in and then can't interact with, yeah, those are mission critical fixes. And it's good to see this one apparently now being solved. Also of note, the service technician has apparently found her voice again. Who knows? Maybe she went through that whole Ariel Little Mermaid making a raw deal with Ursula using her voice as collateral scenario, but yeah, she found her voice again, and there's an entire backstory here as to why she would not talk. Listen to this. It says, the service technician is no longer mourning the death of her beloved pet goldfish, Goldie, because of course her pet goldfish is named Goldie and can now be interacted with again. Goldie received a dignified funeral and was laid to rest gracefully in a waste capsule ejected towards the nearest planet's atmosphere, where the friction between the air and the capsule caused it to heat up, violently explode, and disintegrate. TMI, but now we know. How about crashes and soft locks? Again, you can see them up on screen. There's a lot of very specific instance crashes the team has fixed, and I see them all, but my question is aimed at this one. Fixed a crash that could happen when fog was destroyed. Are they referring to, say, what happens on Crux, those flammable, hazy zones that you could ignite? Or am I just way off base here with this one? Drop me a comment and let me know. They also mentioned that they are still investigating and fixing the excessive ragdolling issues, but they say here they've fixed an issue causing excessive ragdolling when diving or crawling on uneven terrain. And this is probably my biggest issue with movement right now in Helldivers. You dive onto the ground and then you get ragdolled by a pebble or almost trip trying to stand up, where you can't stem, you basically have no player control, and then you just get blasted into mush. Weapons and stratagems also saw some fixes here. Listen to these. They fixed the stem pistol incorrectly affecting the stem's used statistic in the mission end screen. They fixed dead corpses setting off the rockets for the RL-77 airburst rocket launcher. I've been on the receiving end of that one many times. Fixed an issue with the stratagem cooldown that allowed players to call down multiple resupplies or hell bombs at the same time. I saw some of you out there using and abusing the resupply glitch. Apparently it's been fixed. Fix an issue where switching to holding a grenade and picking up an artillery shell at the same time caused the artillery shell to become stuck in the Helldiver's hands. Sorry, I just kind of stammered through the words right there. The LAS-5 scythe scope is now fully operational and can zoom in and out correctly, so we now have scope use on that weapon. Empty expendable weapons cannot be picked up nor holstered anymore. Thank God. We were picking up commandos, we were picking up eats, and there was no more rounds in them. The AR-23A Liberator Carbine now has the 0.5 second shorter reload duration properly implemented from 3 down to 2.5 seconds. It also has the correct mag unit. The MG43 machine gun now has the 0.5 second shorter reload duration properly implemented. They also say we mistakenly wrote it was lowered from 4 down to 3.5 seconds, when in reality, we lowered it from 5 down to 4.5 seconds. They also fixed a missing mesh for the P11 stem pistols syringes. So there you go, a lot of little fixes when it comes to weapons and strats. Enemies saw 3 fixes, 2 of which were directed at our good friend the Impaler. So they disabled the gas confusion effect on the Impaler due to odd behavior with its tentacles, fixed an issue where the Impaler tentacles would sometimes not impact its target, Funny, they always seem to be able to impact with me. And they adjusted Shrieker's pathing in tight spaces. They should now prefer to move around tall obstacles instead of trying to fly over them. There's also 5 fixes here for missions and difficulties, and again we see just how problematic the Nuke Nursery mission type really was, as 2 of the 5 changes are aimed at that specific mission. Also, the good old friends list and social functions saw an entire bag of changes and fixes. Take a look on screen to see if your specific issue was handled, but as a PC player, I do like it now that I can now left click to select the radial menu options. Again, we see a ton of miscellaneous fixes showing up in a Helldivers patch, which has kind of become the norm for us, but I did highlight ones that I see rather frequently. Fixed a bug with camera getting disjointed if entering ADS or aiming down sights as you ragdoll. Now, I've shown these clips before in my videos where, say, I get hit with a rocket dev volley while ADSing, and next thing you know, I'm in this eagle eye view, no control of my player, and I can rotate a little bit, but really nothing else. I've also seen this happen in reverse, where I get hit with that same rocket volley and I get flung underground, but in that case it is usually because I'm using the ballistic shield and I can see my player, and I usually just have to commit suicide with a grenade, or maybe one of my teammates can drop a 500 on me. And finally, the known issues board has been updated again, and check out this one. Excessive ragdolling can cause a feeling of helplessness and frustration. And then they put a bunch of notes here. Listen to what they're doing. Note, we recognize that changes in this area could have a significant impact on the player experience, both positively and negatively, so we are moving forward cautiously. While we are more certain about some changes, others require further thought. These are the adjustments we are currently testing. And listen to these. Allowing players to remain prone after ragdolling when there's no directional movement input. I would actually say yes, thumbs up on that. Enabling the use of stems while ragdolling. 1 million thumbs up on that one, please. Addressing situations where explosions ragdoll players from behind cover. Yes, 1 million thumbs up on that one. Further adjustments to enemy behavior and projectiles. Being considered prone when ragdolling on the ground. So all of those are in the works, and all of those get a ton of, I guess, upvotes from me. That pretty much sums it up. I mean, when it comes to ragdolling, right? And being able to use stems while getting flung through the air would be clutch. But overall, let me know. How are you feeling about today's surprise update? Again, drop me a comment. Let's get a discussion going. All right, over to your top comments from my last Helldivers upload. And as always, if you want to see your name and comment up in lights in my next video, you first need to let it fly on this video. That's right, you got to take just a few seconds of your precious time, drop me a comment, and who knows, it might get upvoted enough so that it makes it into the next video's top 3. Kicking it off in the 1 spot is Amix8778, who says 103,000 players only for a celebration? Now imagine a new real major order with a DSS and Illuminates. And I wholeheartedly agree with this comment. Over 100,000 players for what turned out to be an armor, a weapon, and very little else. Yeah, imagine what would happen if we get, say, the Illuminates dropping into the game. And that's what this game really needs right now. We need a new economy overhaul. We need the ability to spend our resources on different items, and we need new content. We need new biomes. We need basically new mission types. If we can get that, yeah, you're correct. Imagine what the player counts would look like. And by the way, congrats, Amix8778, on taking the top spot in this countdown. In the 2 spot is Highbrow Stonebender 7063. That's a heck of a YouTube tag there with kind of a long comment here. Check out this one. It says, "What boggles me is the sheer volume of people who used to play Helldivers but gave up on it after too many nerfs." I agree with your point there. And then they turned out and are completely unaware of the changes and reverts and Buff Diver Ultimatum. I have had to swear to many people I partied with in Space Marine 2 that Helldivers is fixed and not the same game they walked away from in anger and disappointment. I think Arrowhead might want to invest in a redemption marketing campaign That's an interesting suggestion right there. Redemption marketing campaign, because too many people who love the game think it sucks now and are unaware that the players finally got through to the devs that bean counters don't kill the enemies of democracy. Well-armed Helldivers do. Amen, highbrow stonebender 7063. I have nothing to add to this one. You are absolutely correct. I've had to explain it to certain people as well that maybe uninstalled the game 5 months ago. They don't know just how well the game plays right now. And a redemption marketing campaign is definitely overdue by PlayStation and Arrowhead. And bringing up the caboose in this countdown, and the 3 spot is Prattlebox 97, and this has to do with the Constitution. They say the rifle isn't great, it's not meant to be, but the bayonet is awesome. So yeah, there's one side of that equation when it comes down to the Constitution. Some people think it needs some massive buffs. It's definitely underwhelming. Some people are okay with it. They think it's more of a challenge type weapon, and especially when they throw on peak physique and they run around with the bayonet, they kind of get that melee power fantasy going. But yeah, I would probably guess we're gonna see some buffs to the Constitution. And by the way, congrats Prattlebox 97 on taking the 3rd spot in this countdown. All right, that's a great place to end this video. And as always, I look forward to reading any and all of your feedback when it comes down to Helldivers. Let's get some discussions going. How are you feeling about the game? How are you feeling about the changes? What needs to happen, and how soon does it need to happen? Any and all of that is fair game down in the comment section. I want to see what you have to say. Remember to hit subscribe and ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials, including links to all of today's sources, can be found down in the video description. We're oh so close to hitting 247,000 channel subscribers, with our end goal being 250K. And if you haven't done so already, take just a moment, hit subscribe. We'd love to have you along for the ride. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer signing off.